Hello and welcome to my channel. I will be using a Blue Yeti microphone, so it will have stereo ear-to-ear sound. So in this video I'm going to be talking about the Australian accent and some of the differences between the Australian accent and British and American accents. I would love to educate everyone here about the nuances of different accents and the origin of the Australian accent. I will try my best to talk as clearly and as slowly as I possibly can. First off, to start this video, as soon as I meet a new person, I'm always taking note of their voice and their accent, almost like it's built into me to do automatically. Accents are amazing, and I love so many different kinds. I could talk about them for ages. I guess that's why I'm doing this video. So, to start, I want to explain where the Australian accent came from. Most of the roots of the Australian accent came from England. More specifically, the Cockney variation of speaking, back in the 1700s, from working class London. With Irish and other British settlers coming to Australia, the Australian accent became very mixed and widespread fairly quickly among our first ancestors. There are three main types of Australian accent. The first type is what is referred to as the broad accent, the thickest variation of the Australian accent. If you've ever watched Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say broad. The next accent variant in Australia is the general accent, the most common accent here, and is still less noticeable than broad, but is still very Australian. The last is the cultivated variant, which is spoken at a much higher social level and sounds much more similarly to RP English. To start this video off, the trap bath split is an interesting differing pronunciation, often seen in British English. For example, with the trap bath split, these words would sound like staff, chaffed, daft, draft, half, calf, lance, can't, chant, advantage, ask, pass, grass, bath, half, path, laugh, and armed. This is how I naturally pronounce these words too. To show you the difference, I will pronounce the words without the trap bath split. Staff, chaff, daft, draft, half, calf, lance, can't, chance, advantage, ask, pass, grass, bath, half, path, laugh, and. So the broad A sound is replaced with an AE vowel to make the words trap and bath sound alike. Accents with the trap bath split are received pronunciation which is Standard British, Cockney / London English, Australian English, New Zealand English, South African English, Old-fashioned New England. So, accents without the trap bath split are nearly all American and Canadian accents, Scottish English, Northern English accents, and Caribbean English accents. To make matters more confusing, there are some dialect regions where it is mixed. Some speakers have the split in these places, and some don't. I would say that these are Midlands English, Welsh English, Irish English, and Boston English. Now, I'm going to explain some of the specific vowel sounds that make the Australian accent different to most other accents. Non-rhotic R sound. The non-rhotic R sound is a commonly pointed out feature in the Australian accent. Unlike our ancestors from England, we do not pronounce the R sound like people from the US do. Just from listening, you can tell that I say it more like an R sound instead of a harder R sound. I have family from Canada and friends from the US, and when I say my name, which is Navarre, they think I'm saying Nava instead of Navarre, hence the nickname Nava. Words that have this sound include hard, apart, car park, your, and learning. The oi vowel. This vowel is very prominent in Australian English and differs from most other accents. It's a sound that originated in Cockney English and happens in certain situations where an I sound is present. An example of this is words like, Ireland, tight, alright, by, dire, and knife. In other places, the I sound is replaced by a sharp nasal I sound. Some examples of this are fish and chips, Sydney, pigeon, situation, and icky. The schwa vowel. This is one of the stronger characteristics of the Australian accent, and it came from Cockney English influence. Did you hear it? The word stronger is a great indicator of this. So is indicator. Words like paper, farmer, neither, mother, and proper all contain the schwa vowel at the end of the word. In a common British accent, these sound more like paper, farmer, neither, mother, and proper, having a more sound versus the pure sound, like in the Australian accent. Like the general American accent, Northern English and other specific English accents, the Australian accent has a skipped T sound and becomes more of a D sound, but not in all situations and not in all Australian accents. Typically, the higher the social class of the speaker, the more likely they are to pronounce the word with a T sound rather than a D sound. Words like this include bottle, personality, quite, water, and computer. Spoken in a British accent, these would sound the same, but in American accent or in most general Australian accents, these would sound more like bottle, personality, quite, water, and computer. I notice myself pronouncing the T in the middle of words sometimes, where there'd normally be a D sound in American English, and specifically when there is an N before the T, like in words winter and banter. The O sound. This is a weird one. The O sound at the end of words in the Australian accent is quite unique. In words like no, dunno, so, row, mango, you can hear the O sound at the end sounding more like OHR or O. Including in this is the O in the middle of words, which is seen in RP English. So some examples of these words are honest, toddler, economy, monster, and profit. An American speaker would pronounce these words like toddler, honest, economy, monster, and profit. As seen in British English, the A sound differs a bit from the American English way. When spoken by an Australian, it becomes more like an O compared to an ah. Examples of this are words like Australia, almost, draw, court, and claw. Someone from the US would say these words like Australia, almost, draw, cart, and claw. The Jew sound. This is seen in RP English and is also a feature of the Australian accent. This sound differs to an American accent in the way it is replaced with a flat oo sound, unlike in my accent. Words like Tuesday, duration, news, studio, and neuron all have this sound in them. The American way to say them would be Tuesday, duration, news, studio, and neuron. So I would like to thank you all for listening to my ASMR video. I hope that it helped you relax, and I hope you learned a bit more about different accents. I would like to thank you for coming onto my channel, and I would like to wish you a wonderful day.